Hello, my name's Callum Howard, and this is my history of video game consoles and video game technology. First up, we have in 1947 the cathode ray tube amusement device, which its only game, which was called Missile Simulator, was based on World War II, and you get those like green screens, the radars, you know what I mean, and you basically like shot dots at the time, because graphics then couldn't be drawn, so you just had to go against like 1D enemies. And it also used analog circuitry, the cathode ray achievement of the game, well, the game used it as well. And it was made by S.L. Raymond and Thomas T. Goldsmith. In 1951, Pilot Ace, which was a games console, well, it was a computer really, had a game drafts, and it was a simulation of the game drafts, and that was made by Christopher Stracy. In 1951, the Nimrod computer came out with a game called NIM, which was a mathematical strategy game. Made by Fenari, and it was played at the Exhibition of Science. In 1958, the Oscilloscope, which was an analog computer that used a vector display, came out with a game called Tennis for Two, made by William Higginbotham for the Brookhaven National Laboratory. And it was meant to promote atomic power because of the funders, the US Department of Energy. In 1959, or technically 1957 to 1961, the TX0 was a 16-bit operating computer. They came out with the game Mouse and the Maze and Tic-Tac-Toe. Both of these games used a light pen. In Tic-Tac-Toe, you used to draw the X's and the noughts, and in the Mouse and the Maze, it was used to make your way through the maze. In 1961, the DEC PDP-1 mini-computer used a vector display made by Martin Grace, Steve Russell and Wayne Williamson, and it reportedly used a smoke test, and it came out with the game Space War, which was considered the first shooter game. In 1966, the Odyssey came out. It was an idea in 1951 to make an interactive game on a TV set. It would be displayed by a modification of a video game. The brown box was the last prototype of 7, and it was released in May 1972 under the name by Manox under the name Odyssey. And it was the first video game console. In 1971, the DEC BP11/20 computer, one unit was only built, and it was later adapted to run 8 games at once. Came out with the game Galaxy the Game, made by Bill Pitts and Hugh Tuck. It was the first coin-operated game. This is where the money starts coming into the game industry. In 1971, 2 months after game Galaxy Games installation, Computer Space was released, which was the first coin-operated video game to be released, to be commercially sold. This is where the arcade started. And it also used a TV inside the game cabinet to give it better visuals, and this was created by Nolan Russell and Ted Dainby. In 1975, after the Nolan Russell founds Atari in 1972, the company has its first big hit with the video game Pong. A home version was later released, introducing games to the masses. In 1977, the Atari released Atari 2600 VCS, and the Atari realised that single games can't last forever, they lose popularity after a while. So they created the cartridge system, which was a big jump in video game technology at the time. And so this allowed for games to come with more memory and be sold separately, thus making the video game industry more money. And this console, the Atari 2600 VCS, was the first. Well, this is where games like Space Invaders came from. In 1980, Mattel releases the Intellivision to rival the Atari's 2600 VCS in the 80s. 1983 to 84, Atari 5200 and the Vertrix lead to a major video game industry crash. Later on, in 1985, Nintendo comes out with the NES, that stands for Nintendo Entertainment System. The Nintendo started off as a playing card company and later came into games consoles, and they are known as Famicom in Japan, I think it's pronounced. In 1989, Nintendo releases Game Boy, first handheld console. The popularity inspired the release of the Game Boy Pocket in 1996 and the Game Boy Color in 1998. And the Sega Genesis was also released in 1998, and in America it was called the Sega Mega Drive. In Japan it was released in 1988 and known as the Mega Drive. In 1990, the Neo Geo was the debut of the SNK's 24-bit games console system. Years ahead of its competitors, but its price is $650 and $200 a game led to it not being popular with the masses. In 1991, the Super NES, Super Nintendo Entertainment System, was a 16-bit operating system, the top-selling 16-bit console in the US. In 1995, the PlayStation 32-bit operating system with the CD-ROM introduced in the PS1 drops the prices of games considerably, and 3D games then came over against 2D games in the use of the game industry. In 1996, the Nintendo 64 was released. The Nintendo 64 used cartridges which were faster than the CD-ROMs at the time of PlayStation, but lacked the wider game range because of the higher price of the cartridges. In the year 2000, the PlayStation 2 was released. It was the first 128 operating system. Featured a backwards compatibility. It could play older games like 32-bit games from the PS1 and such. And online gaming increased considerably during the time of the PS2. In 2001, Microsoft released the Xbox, and because of the PC technology, it outperformed every other 128-bit operating system games console on the market at the time. 2001, the GameCube was released by Nintendo. In 2002, the Game Boy Advanced backwards compatibility with LCD screen was released, and this LCD screen could display more than 32,000 colours. 2004, the DS is released with backwards compatibility, touchscreen and dual screen. 2005, the Xbox 360 is released, which is the first 7th gen console. In 2006, the PS3 is released with Blu-ray technology. In 2006, the Wii was released with motion sensing controllers. Also in 2006, the DS Lite was released. In 2011, the DSi XL, and the 3DS, which incorporated 3D technology in the system.